All right, so we've spent this entire series digging into some of the biggest network failures of the last decade. Now for our final installment, we're going to flip the script. We're not looking back anymore, we're looking forward. So how do we build the resilient, secure networks of the future? Let's find out.
So this is it, the final part of our 6-part series, Major Network and System Failures, which is all based on the great analysis from Virtualization Options LLC. We've learned a ton from the past, right? Well, now it's time to shift our focus to the road ahead and really explore the strategies that are going to define next-generation network resilience. Here's the plan for today. We're going to kick things off with the new rules of the game for resilience. Then we'll dive into some huge pillars, like building a zero-trust fortress and facing the coming quantum threat. After that, we'll look at the sci-fi sounding but very real idea of self-healing networks, talk about why collaboration is key, and then wrap it all up with what this means for Vision 2030, and, most importantly, your role in it.
Okay, first up, and this is probably the biggest mindset shift of all. For decades, we tried to prevent every single failure. Guess what? It's impossible. The new rule, the new philosophy, is to just accept that failures are going to happen, they're inevitable, so you have to design systems that are built from the ground up to keep operating right through them.
So, if failure is a given, how do we build for that reality? Well, the first pillar is to completely rethink our approach to security. We have to move away from these old, broken models that just can't keep up with modern threats. And that brings us to what's called the zero-trust fortress. So what exactly is zero trust? At its heart, it's a security model that just completely throws out that old-fashioned idea of a trusted internal network. You know, that cozy safe space inside the firewall? Yeah, that's gone. Zero trust runs on one simple but incredibly powerful principle. Never trust, always verify. Every single person, every single device trying to get access has to be strictly verified, no exceptions. You know, the old way of doing things was kind of like a castle in moat. It was really hard to get across the moat and through the main gate, but once you were inside, you could pretty much wander around freely. Zero trust is totally different. Think of it like a modern spy headquarters, where you need a unique key card for every single door inside the building. It's a system that's constantly asking, are you really supposed to be here, for every single action you take? And this whole approach really stands on 3 core ideas. First, there's continuous verification. It's not a one-and-done check-in. It's constantly rechecking your credentials. Second is micro-segmentation. This is like putting watertight, sealed bulkheads on a submarine. If one section gets breached, the flood is contained. It limits the blast radius. And finally, there's the principle of least privilege. This just means you only get the keys to the specific rooms you absolutely need to do your job, and nothing more.
Now, let's move on to our next big challenge. And honestly, this one is a monster. We are standing right on the edge of a brand new era of computing, one that poses an existential threat to pretty much all of our data security today. We're talking about the quantum threat.
I mean, really think about that for a second. What if everything we use to keep our data safe just stopped working? Because that's the reality. Once quantum computers get powerful enough, they'll be able to shatter the encryption we use for everything. Our banking, our private messages, even our national security. It puts a hard expiration date on privacy as we know it.
And here's the kicker. This isn't some far-off sci-fi problem. The threat is here, right now. Bad actors are actively sucking up and storing massive amounts of our encrypted data today. They're creating these huge digital time capsules, just waiting for the day they get their hands on a quantum key to unlock it all. It's called harvest now, decrypt later, and it makes the need to switch to new security standards incredibly urgent.
So what's the fix? Well, it's a massive undertaking called the cryptographic transition. We literally have to move our entire digital world from the algorithms we use today, like RSA and ECC, which we now know are vulnerable, to a whole new family of algorithms called post-quantum cryptography, or PQC. These are being designed from scratch to withstand attacks from both the computers we have now and the quantum computers of the future.
Okay, so moving beyond just security, the future of actually keeping things running, operational resilience, is all about taking human delay out of the loop. This leads us to the incredible concept of autonomous networks, systems that can actually detect problems, diagnose them, and fix themselves, all without a human ever lifting a finger. So here's how this self-healing cycle actually works. It's a 5-step loop that just keeps running. Step 1, an AI model detects something is wrong, like a weird blip in the data. Step 2, machine learning acts like a detective and diagnoses the root cause. Then, step 3, remediation.
Automated systems jump in, execute a fix, and maybe reroute traffic. Step 4 is verification. The system checks to make sure its fix actually worked. And the coolest part is step 5, learning. The AI takes what it learned from that incident and updates its own models, so it gets smarter and faster for next time. It's a constantly improving cycle.
Okay, so we've got some amazing technology coming down the pike, but tech alone is not a silver bullet. Our digital world is so deeply interconnected that one company, no matter how good they are, can't achieve resilience by itself. The next big frontier is building the human systems to match our technical ones. You can think of it as resilience becoming a team sport.
And that means building these collaborative ecosystems. We're seeing organizations learn to share threat intelligence through things like ISACs, which are basically a neighborhood watch for cyber threats. If one company sees a new attack, they can warn everybody else instantly. It also means planning ahead for coordinated responses during big crises and developing open-source tools and standards so that everyone can raise their game together.
And it's not just companies doing this on their own. Policy is really starting to drive the change. Governments are stepping in and setting minimum security standards for critical infrastructure. We're seeing new rules that require mandatory reporting of incidents, which forces a level of transparency that helps the entire industry learn. And, maybe most importantly, legal liability is changing, creating real dollars and cents incentives for companies to finally invest properly in resilience. All right, let's pull all these threads together. We've talked zero trust, quantum computing, self-healing networks, collaboration. So what does the network of the near future actually look like? And what is our role? What is your role in making it a reality? This is Vision 2030. So what does a 2030 network look like? Well, for starters, it's largely self-healing. We'll be measuring recovery time in seconds, not hours or days. It's going to be quantum-resistant by default, with zero trust and post-quantum crypto just being the standard way things are built. And that 5 nines of availability, 99.999% uptime, that means just over 5 minutes of downtime per year. That won't be a premium feature. It'll be the baseline expectation. And behind it all, global cooperation on threats will just be business as usual. That's the goal. Now, getting to that vision, that takes a real shift in thinking for everyone. So if you're a technology leader, listen up. Your call to action is this. You have to stop treating infrastructure like a cost to be squeezed. It's a strategic asset that your entire business runs on. Your job is to champion that sustained investment and build a culture that actually values reliability. And for the folks in the trenches, the operations teams who are actually building and running this stuff, that strategic vision gets built by you. Your mission is all about discipline and continuous improvement. And remember that rule, failure is inevitable. So since perfection is impossible, your focus has to be on becoming absolute masters of rapid recovery. Document everything, automate what you can, and treat every single incident as a chance to get better. But at the end of the day, even the most buttoned-up team can't go it alone. So for the industry as a whole, the message is that we have to finally recognize our shared vulnerability. True, lasting resilience means we have to move beyond our competitive instincts sometimes and collaborate on security. We're all plugged into the same digital world. We are going to sink or swim together. Which brings us to one final question. We started this whole series by looking backwards, by digging into the wreckage of past failures to learn what went wrong. We've now seen the roadmap for a much more resilient digital future. The tech is coming, the ideas are there, but actually building that future, that takes a real commitment from all of us. So the question is, how will you help build it?